Hey man, here I review movies and today's film is Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. It's an action comedy in which Axel returns to Beverly Hills for another romp with his good old friends Taggart and Rosewood, and reunites with his estranged daughter Jane in the process. Together they take on a new case. Will Beall wrote the story and then he adapted it into a screenplay with the help of Tom Gormican and Kevin Etten. Mark Malloy directed the film, which stars Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, Kevin Bacon, Taylor Page, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Let's start with the positives. First, we have a lot of excitement in the form of humor, car chases, cheesy one-liners, and solid action that comes every 20 minutes or so. Eddie Murphy's physical style of comedy is ever present in this film, with him making funny faces, giving chaotic monologues, and fast-talking his way into every room. He even works it into the action in a way that's reminiscent of Jackie Chan's films. The car chases and the action sequences involve a lot of explosions and a ton of gunplay. They come often and last for a long time. The action comes with characters who joke around in the midst of gunfire, and we get a lot of cheesy comedy action lines that are highly quotable, and sometimes disturbingly funny. The whole bit in the helicopter had me rolling. The cast is made up of a few named characters and a lot of extras for the action sequences. The named cast do a great job of building out stereotypical characters that work well for the comedy aspects of the film. You have a bunch of incompetent goons, a boastful villain, the hard-ass old cop, the hippy-dippy cop, and then Axel's charming bad cop routine. Their performances lead to a lot of great comedy and some decent action moments. The visual journey is a collection of action scenes with basic conversations mixed in. It's shot in a straightforward and clear manner with decent lighting, and it has good locations for the conversations. Nothing is overly complex or challenging, but it gets the story across well. The action sequences involve basic gunfights as the villains chase Axel and Jane around the city. They tend to be tame scenes with a bit of tension and some good camera movement. They also have a decent impact. They aren't the most memorable of scenes, but there's enough action in here that you'll likely find something to take away from this film. Sound-wise, the film makes heavy use of original songs of a variety of genres. They have callbacks to the original films, with the old theme song making a number of appearances. They also use more techno-based instrumentals for the action-intense moments. They do a solid job of backing the emotional journey and follow the scenery. The original songs add a ton of flavor and are highly entertaining. The film ends up sounding a bit like an 80s action film thanks to the soundtrack. On the negative side of things, the story doesn't really make sense. It's basic bad cops doing bad things with a bit of corruption that never gets explained. They focus more on the jokes and the emotional aspects of the story and completely neglect the main plot. It leads to it feeling like an afterthought at best. All of the information is handed to the main characters when they need it through lazy exposition dumps, and there's no build-up or sense of stakes. No one ever gets hurt, and they don't try to do any setup or foreshadowing. The cast struggles to stand out because of the shallow engagement. They're never called on to do anything overly emotional or physical. They just time their jokes well, say their lines like they know them, and do the right facial expressions when they need to. The closest you get to a standout performance is Eddie Murphy as Axel. He almost gets to have a real conversation with his daughter, but they always have another joke to kill any serious feelings he starts to build. Finally, the music, while entertaining, wasn't memorable. It's a lot of techno-styled instrumentals and songs from the last 20 years. They sound good in the moment and even add a bit of emotion, but they never connect to the scenery on a deeper level. Personally, I thought the movie was fun for the first 50 minutes or so, and then it became a bit repetitive. Some of the stereotypes were a little outdated, but I laughed a lot. The action wasn't the greatest, but they had some good lines in there and Eddie Murphy did a good job. The film ends up being good light entertainment, but it isn't trying anything new. It's just a bit of Beverly Hills Cop nostalgia. It works. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 6 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye.